Yo. Welcome into the ChrisBeCappinn Show, man. First day of February. Boy, do I need a new month. Got steamed last night in the NBA. It's a bunch of games on the board for today, so we'll get into a quick recap. We never run away from our losses. We come back on and talk about them. And it's been 2 bad days for me in a row. 2 really bad days for me in a row. Yesterday, to jump straight into the recap. Yesterday, every 0-4 day, I go down almost 3.5 units. Everything that I played was a loser. Everything that I didn't play was a winner. But it's like that sometimes. Charlotte team total under 99.5. If I had to play that one again, I absolutely would. Toronto minus the 3 worked out just the worst possible way that it could in my favor, with quickly being ruled in. Snead was ruled out. And then Grady Dick. So all the defense was gone. The offense came back and they couldn't get a stop. The Bulls shot 45% from the 3-point line last night. So that was a loser. Milwaukee gave up 150 points last night to the San Antonio Spurs. The Victor Wembanyama got whatever it is that he wanted. He was hitting one-footed runners and floaters and dunks and blocking Giannis, and it was crazy. That was a crazy game last night. But the sharp money was right on that one. And then the Pelicans team total under was more predicated on them being a double-digit dog at home without Zion when he got ruled out. They were averaging 98 points per game in that spot. And the Celtics on the road are typically an under team. But who was it? It was Trey Murphy. Shout out UVA. Got hot. Had a career high 42 points. The Pelicans shoot 40% from the 3-point line last night. Even with DeJounte Murray going down, and get well soon, DeJounte. He's done for the season with a torn Achilles. So Devin Booker was on the list. Easy winner. Cade Cunningham was on the list. Easy winner. Like Detroit yesterday, didn't pull the trigger. Easy winner. Like the Suns yesterday, didn't pull the trigger. Easy winner. But everything that I pulled the trigger on was a loser. So it sucks. It does really suck. I didn't dive too deep into the slate for today, so we can talk out some games. There's a lot of opportunities to make some money today. A couple things that I'm interested in. One bet that I made officially already, and that number is long gone. So let's jump into it, man. Let's go through a couple comments, see who's here, even after the bad day, and get into it. Gina always first. She says, "Good morning, Chris and community. Toronto went to bed last night, but I cashed the Phoenix money line in the over. Says find some winners today. Absolutely." Mark says he'll be landing in Vegas in 20 minutes. Let's find some winners. Safe travels and enjoy your time out there, Mark. Enjoy your time out there for sure. What up, Go Woo? Says let's find some good value. Things don't always go our way, but we just have to move on. Yeah, absolutely, man. It's an up and down season, but boy, the last 2 days have been bad. The last 2 days have been really bad. Let's see if we can find some one of those. What's up, Bryant? Says good morning, Chris. I took a beating last night. Was at dinner and didn't play Golden State and Suns. So let's find a couple of nice juicy spots and get it back today. Yeah, horrible day for a lot of people yesterday, not just myself. What's up, Sonny? Appreciate you for tapping in. Says just want to give a shout out to Nayeli for her comments about the Phoenix Suns yesterday. Follow her into that one. Yeah, I like the Suns yesterday too. Probably should have pulled the trigger. Morning, Scott. Appreciate you for tapping in. What up, Flint? Says another great night for him. He cashed on the Clippers in first quarter, Bulls first half, Pistons money line, Bucks first half money line, 76ers spread. So yeah, nice. Good night. Morning, Andrew. We'll try to get a little bit back. It's important to never force it though. You never want to force it just because you had a bad night. It's all about bankroll management. I leave the losses up here so you can see them. What up, GLB? Appreciate you for tapping in. Big Marv, user, Justin, Fahrenheit. A lot of comments. A lot of people in the comment section. Black History Month for show, Justin. Black History Month for show. What up, Jacob? Appreciate you for tapping in. Cup of Joe. All right, let's jump into it for today. There's a bunch of comments. We'll get into the games. TC Bets. Coach Chris says almost swept the picks there in double cash. Pistons -1. Beasley went 3 for 8 from 3. We talk about it all the time, man. Never. Nice. Mark said he made it. Nice. Never can really know what you're gonna get from Malik Beasley. Let's jump into it for today. So first up, we got jaXon, your AI sports betting tool / buddy. And there's a link in the description if you're interested in checking out jaXon. jaXon did get cool off a little bit yesterday too. jaXon liked the Bucks, and I ended up getting there with the Bucks too. And out of all the days of the week for me to follow jaXon, because jaXon hadn't lost the whole week, I followed jaXon yesterday, which I already like the Bucks anyway. And jaXon, of course, got that one wrong, laying the 3 last night, or the 3.5. So today, let's see. I wanted to look at the Orlando and Utah game. I got some pretty strong thoughts on the game, but we'll get there when I get to it. Let's see what jaXon talks about here. So first and foremost, you get your little table. Got all the data with the ATS records. ATS last 10, points per game scored, points per game allowed, recent form of both teams. And then jaXon likes Orlando. It says, why Orlando minus 5.5 is a strong bet. I do see the line moving to 6. There's a couple 5.5s out there, though. So it says, defensive edge, the Magic ranked second in the NBA in points allowed per game at 105, showcasing their defensive strength. In contrast, the Jazz ranked 28th in points allowed per game at 118.9, making them one of the league's worst defensive teams. And if I'm being honest, like if I'm just cut the breakdown off there, that's what I was thinking too. I think the Magic, their offense has been struggling to score. I feel like they should be able to score against the Utah Jazz. I know that they played earlier this season, but anyway, let's see what else jaXon says. Orlando's defense should be able to contain Utah's offense, which has been inconsistent. It ranks 21st in points per game at 111.1. Recent form, the Jazz are on an 8-game losing streak, and they've gone 1-9 in their last 10 games, including the 138-113 blowout loss to the Timberwolves in their most recent outing. The Magic have struggled recently as well, going 2 for 8 in their last 10 games. But they're coming off a tough loss to the Portland Trail Blazers and will be motivated to bounce back against a weaker opponent. Head-to-head, the Jazz defeated the Magic 105-92 in their last meeting on January the 5th, but Orlando has the tools to adjust and take advantage of Utah's defensive struggles this time around. Over the last 10 meetings, the Jazz are 7-3 straight up, 6-4 against the spread, but the Magic improves defense, give them an edge in this matchup. Injury report: the Jazz are going to be missing key players like Cody Williams and Drew Zhang, Taylor Hendricks, which could further weaken their already struggling roster. I don't know how much I agree with that. They got the main horses. The Magic are without Gary Harris, Jalen Suggs, and Mo Wagner, but they still have core players like Franz Wagner and Paolo Banchero who are capable of leading the team to a win. Recommendation: Orlando Magic. The Magic's elite defense combined with the Jazz poor form and depleted roster make the Magic a stronger pick to cover the spread. While both teams have struggled recently, the Magic's ability to limit scoring and Utah's defensive vulnerability give Orlando a clear edge. And I'm not gonna lie, that's exactly what I was thinking as well. But we'll get to that game in just a second. That is the prompt that I put in for jaXon today. You can, like I said, you can check out jaXon for player props, sides, totals, in all the different leagues, all the different sports as well. So let's jump into it. First game we got up is the Atlanta Hawks and the Indiana Pacers. This line opened 5, I think is what I saw that, then 5.5. And it's, of course, moved now to, and this is a matinee start time game as well. Got to mention the matinee start times. This is a 5:10 start time game, Eastern Standard Time. So this game will start about 2 hours before their normal body clocks here. So I think, what number did I get? I played this last night. I took I took Indiana. I got 5.5 last night because I said that this one was going to move. I said I thought it was going to move, and it's absolutely moved. So the injury report here is daunting for the Atlanta Hawks. I talked about wanting to take their season win total under. Still think that that's probably going to be a pretty good bet, but haven't pulled the trigger on that yet. Just haven't had time to kind of look a little bit deeper. But I do think Atlanta's going to be a fade. We know Jalen Johnson is out. We know that Bogdanovich is out. Clint Capella is out. They're just missing a bunch of players. And, when I was going through and looking at it yesterday, the Pacers they should have everybody in this game. I know that Benedict Mathurin and Andrew Nembhard are on the injury report, but Benedict Mathurin had a full practice yesterday. Andrew Nembhard is on track to play as well after missing the last game, and the Pacers didn't even really need him. I mean, they beat Detroit up pretty bad in that last game. Also, you got the rest advantage here for the Indiana Pacers. The Atlanta Hawks just played on the second leg of a back-to-back against the Cleveland Cavaliers, and Indiana been at the crib this fourth straight. This is not fourth straight. This is, I think, third straight home game for them as well. No travel, no look ahead spot. They got the Utah Jazz coming to them next. That game's not for a few days, so I feel like this is a spot Atlanta should be able to take. Indiana should be able to take advantage of Atlanta. As far as head-to-head goes, Atlanta has struggled against the Pacers. When they played last season, all 4 games, the Indiana Pacers won and covered the number. The totals are 8-2 to the over, which lets me know that Atlanta can't, for whatever reason, they can't defend the Indiana Pacers. So Pacers should be able to score in this spot. I'm thinking so as well. When I think about the Hawks, I think about a team that gets it off the glass. And when you're missing Jalen Johnson and Clint Capella, in my opinion, you're not going to have a rebounding advantage. Not that Indiana isn't a good rebounding team as well. So when I looked a little bit deeper into it yesterday, without Jalen Johnson, Atlanta has been a road dog 7 times. They're only 3-4 against the spread. But in games with higher totals, they failed to cover all of them. So if this total opened at 231, it's all the way up to 240 now. If the total is greater than 236, they're 0-3 straight up and against the spread. Each one of their losses have been by exactly what this point spread is, by 8 points or more. Indy only 8-8 against the spread as a home favorite, but they started the season off very, very rocky. They've won and covered their last 6 as a home favorite, and they've all been by double digits, or winning margin by double digits. So I did play the Pacers in this game. I think if I had to play anything right now, because I don't, with the way my bets have been going, I definitely am not encouraging anybody to lay 8, but I do think the Pacers should be the right side in this game. If I had to play anything right now, I was reading about Ricochet this morning, and I think he's in a pretty good spot. So before I go through the comments, I just want to look at Ricochet real quick. So we'll go over to Outlier. Outlier is a sports betting tool that you guys could utilize if you're interested in handicapping player prop size and totals and all that good stuff. So Ricochet is coming off a game, and I just kind of feel like his value, like he's gonna have to have an increased volume now that they're down Jalen Johnson and they're down Clint Capella. I just think his minutes are going to continue to go up. No Bogdanovich. I feel like it's either going to be him or it's going to be DeAndre Hunter. One of those guys are going to have to play big and score the basketball. I saw his points juiced at 10.5 to the over. He's coming off this 30-point game right here where he played just 25 minutes. Of course, it was a breakout game. This says 11.5 is listed at 105, but I saw 10.5. Yeah, 10.5 on BetMGM. And you can see, if we just look at his full season, it's been kind of shaky, but he's still cashed in more than he's not, 56%. If we look at games without Bogdanovich, it should mean more minutes for him, right? Look at this, all the way up to 65%. Because he plays like that shooting guard position for them. Shooting guard / small forward position for them, and then you take out Jalen Johnson, so this number goes up to 65%. You can see that he's cashed it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 straight games. 5 of his and 6 of his 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 6 of his last 7 games he stayed over this number. The game that he missed, he had 9. And then if you add that Jalen Johnson is out as well, you can see that he's only played in 5 games so far this season without both of them. And he's over in 4 to 5 games. So 80% hit rate for Ricochet here in this matchup. So I like the 10.5. I think the 11.5 should be good money as well. You can see that he's playing about 27 minutes in these games, shooting 38% from the 3-point line, 48% from the field. And I just think that he is the guy that is probably going to be bet on for the Atlanta Hawks moving forward. So if I had to make a bet right now, I think I'd be looking towards, at least this is what I was thinking, I'll be looking towards Ricochet over the 10.5 points or just over the 11.5 points. So that's my thought process on who's going to help Atlanta even keep this one even remotely competitive. I will be looking at Ricochet, but I did play, like I said, Indy last night and sent it out to the members. Let's see. A lot of comments I probably missed. Let's see. What up, Mel? Appreciate you, my brother. Appreciate that for sure. Let's see. What are we saying about this game? D says, rest in peace, that jaXon win streak. But we ain't banning jaXon. Nah, don't ban jaXon, man. jaXon been hot. Been hot. What's good, King? P says, yo, good morning, fam. Yeah, the Clippers didn't seem interested in stopping Chicago at Charlotte at all. It was crazy how they weren't, how interested they weren't last night. Like letting Bridges go crazy like that. But that's how it goes sometimes, man. That's how it goes, man. Let's see. What else y'all seeing in the chat here? Mel says he thinks Orlando is sharp, well crafted, falling nice. Even if they win, I can't trust them to cover. We'll talk a little bit about that when we get there. Brian says, Chris, can we trust Orlando? We'll go back to the Orlando game. I want to see if I can find the thoughts on this Atlanta game. Alfonso says, what's the trend about the Pacers winning and covering? You said it a few weeks ago. Oh, yeah. I'm glad you mentioned that, Alfonso. Glad you mentioned that. I'm not sure if it was a road trend or a home trend, but let's look into it real quick. So I know the Pacers, I think it go all the way back to last season. So if we look at the Pacers and let's just say they're a favorite and they cover, so if they're all right, so the Pacers have been a favorite 16 times this season. And when they win by an average of 12.8 points per game. So pretty much 13 points is what they win by. They have covered 13 of their 16 games that they've won as a favorite. So 81.2% says that if you like the Pacers to win, you lay the points. And that's what I did yesterday. Let's see. Last time they were a favorite and they won, they beat the Pistons. That game was just 2 days ago. They beat them by 14. They beat the Spurs by 38. They beat the Sixers by 13. They beat the Pistons by 11. They beat the Warriors by 12. They beat the Bulls by 16. They beat the Nets by 14. So you see where I'm going, that if the Pacers win, you got to go all the way back to December the 6th. They beat the Bulls by 9, but they were only laying 3.5 in that game. So if the Pacers win, it's typically by double digits. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 straight games they've won by double digits. So yeah, if you like the Pacers, just lay the points. I'm glad you thought about that one, Alfonso. And that I didn't even look at home. That's just if they win in general. Jacob likes Miles Turner over his 1.5 threes. Brian says first half for Orlando. Indy and their team total over. Thinking about first quarter too. Mel says I'll take the Pacers. Hawks don't care about winning unless you're a top tier team. Oh man. Let's see. Burns says Pacers is the sharp side. Pacers should win by 15. 15 to 20, I think he says, and I agree with that. 15-20. Yep, 15 to 20. Vaughn says, I didn't know Jalen Johnson meant that much to the Hawks. I knew he was good, but wow, since his injury first started happening, the Hawks haven't been trending downward. Yeah, and it's more than that because, and not to get too far off of it, but I talked about, the Hawks game the other day, and I talked about how Bogdanović was listed as out because he's on the trade market. They're about to blow this. I think that the Hawks are, and that's why I like the Hawks season win team total under. I think the Hawks are really about to blow it up. No Jalen Johnson. You're probably not even, you might not even make the playoffs at this point. Not that they still don't have some guys, but it's going to be more developmental for them this year, I think. Getting Reese Shea out there, DeAndre Hunter now, they don't have a lot anymore. And I think they're trying to trade Bogdanović. We know Clint Capella's been on the trade block for 5 years now. So yeah, I think they're trying to shake it up a little bit. You got Capella coming off the bench now, Okongwu starting. So yeah, I think they cooked right now, Vaughn. It happened quick. As soon as Jalen Johnson got hurt, it's like, all right, cool, let's trade Bogdanović. They're trying to find suitors for him. Same thing for Capella. Got him coming off the bench. Vaughn says he likes DeAndre Hunter threes. They got to dig deeper. Pacers win by at least 10. All right, a lot of thoughts and comments coming on this one. Good morning, Miranda. She says possibly like Tyrese over his points and Veet to over his points, rebounds, and assists. He will get a lot of a lot of guard minutes as well. So I couldn't talk you off of that. User says, Trey, big game after missing the All-Star, maybe double-double. I mean, I don't know if Trey can go crazy, but to me it feels like I like Trey a lot. I'll say this. He had a chance on TNT when they got announced the other day to have a big game. I know that was a back-to-back, but the Pacers have actually been playing some really good defense. And when they win as a favorite, they are 9-6-1 to the under. They only giving up about 107 points per game, but maybe Trey can still go crazy in this one. Absolutely. All right, J-Man likes the Pacers as well, minus the 8. Like I said, we got to this one early. I played the 5.5. Hopefully it's a winner. It's the only thing I played so far today. Let's keep going. And like I said, I leans towards Ricochet to go up and over his 11.5 points. Next game up is that Magic and Jazz game. This line opened at 5.5 yesterday. It's up to 6. Total is moved up from 214.5 up to 218.5 now. So we'll go injury report first. Jalen Suggs means a ton, man. He means a ton. Still listed as questionable with that quadricep injury. This is also a 5-10 start time game. So both of the two games that we've talked about so far are early start time games. Jalen Suggs has missed the last 2 games, and the on-off floor metrics have been completely different without him out there. When he missed those 10 games early this season, I think they went 2-8 straight up. Now, granted, they were without Paolo. They were without Franz for a couple of those games as well. But they still don't have the band all the way back together, which is why they've really, really been struggling, man. So you got a revenge game here, like Jackson mentioned. They lost 105-92 as a 9-point favorite back on January the 5th. They were very shorthanded in that game. Orlando was missing Paolo. They were missing Franz. They were missing Jalen Suggs. The only starters that they did have was Gogo Batadze and KCP. They shot 36% from the field in that game against the Jazz. Imagine shooting 36% against the Jazz. 30% from the three-point line in that game as well. Utah, though, was also shorthanded. Lauri Markkanen didn't play in that game. John Collins didn't play in that game. That was the sense ball like coming out game. I think he had like 27 off there. I don't know if he started or not, but I think he had like 27 points in that game. So now, like, do you try to catch the falling knife with Orlando? I kind of feel like if Jalen Suggs play, they are the better team. I mean, I don't think that's a question. But Utah, typically play a little bit better at home, even though I know they just got absolutely steamrolled by the Minnesota Timberwolves after having a very good first half, very good first quarter. Timberwolves turned up on them in the second, and it was over after that. Was watching that game. So Orlando, back-to-back losses against the Miami Heat and Portland Trail Blazers. They're only 2-8 straight up in their last 10 games, 3-7 against the spread in their last 10 games. And they're in the middle of I think this is a 6 or a 7 game road trip. I think they play the Warriors next. Then on the Jazz side of things, they've also been absolutely trash. 1-9 straight up in their last 10 games. They've lost 8 straight. They failed to cover their last 4, and they're 3-1 to the under as well in their last 4 games. So offense has been struggling. They are healthy now, though. Like, one thing I think about when I think about the Jazz is how much better they are when they do have everybody. Now, granted, that last game against the Timberwolves, John Collins and Lauri Markkanen, I think it was their first game back to playing together. I just don't know what the Jazz are trying to do. They've moved Collier to the starting point guard and bench Keontae George. Like, I can't get a good sense or a good feel for the Jazz. I don't think that they're going to come out and roll over and lay down for Orlando at all. Like, that scares me a little bit. If they were coming off a win, I'd say, okay, cool. I know they're not trying to win, too many more games because they want to stay in the lottery, as much as they can with the 10 wins that they have on the season. So it makes it difficult for me to take this game from a prop perspective. From a side or a total perspective. Maybe we look at, let's just go match the teams up real quick, and then I'll go through the comments because I haven't played this game. Like I said, I'm going to be super light today. I'm just kind of sharing my thought processes with you guys. Orlando. So Orlando last 5 games are all right. So Orlando is 28th in offensive rating last 5 games. Full season, we know that they're the second worst offense. 16th defensive rated team last 5 games. On the season, 3rd. So defenses continue to fall off. 28th in efficiency differential. Can't lay points with a team like that, man. Playing super slow, 3rd slowest pace last 5 games, slowest pace team in the NBA for the full season. And that's all against the 7th easiest schedule for Orlando. They have not played against a difficult schedule. The Utah Jazz, 21st in offensive efficiency, 29th in defensive efficiency. So they have been giving it up. Second worst defensive rated team. Their efficiency overall is actually worse than Orlando's. They're losing by average of 17 points per 100 possessions. So these are two teams going in the wrong direction. Jazz also playing pretty slow, 19th in pace, but they have played the second strongest strength of schedule. So I always like to go through and kind of look at who the Jazz have played. When I see a team that has played, a really strong strength of schedule, I like to see who they actually been playing against. So let's go look at that. So the Jazz just lost to the Timberwolves, the Warriors, the Bucks, the Grizzlies, and the Thunder. Those are all playoff teams. I guess the Warriors going to the playoffs. Timberwolves, Warriors, Bucks, Grizzlies, and Thunder. Last 5 games, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, so they have gotten steamrolled. I don't know, man. I really don't know. I have no idea what to do with this one. Let's see what you guys are thinking. I don't know what to do with this. I hate all the back and forth. It feels very conflictual. I really think Orlando's going to get it together. I can't pull the trigger on them right now. Can't pull the trigger. Let's see. Alfonso says, once upon a time, the Magic were money printers against the spread. Yeah, and if they have Jalen Suggs, I kind of lean their way a lot more. You're going to need him to be able to slow down some of these guards, the Colliers of the world, the Keontae Georges of the world. Should be a revenge game, JFX. Should absolutely be a revenge game. But I don't even think the Magic are doing that well in revenge games. Let's look at it. The Magic are 5-7 straight up in revenge games this season. 6-5-1 against the spread. They've lost the last 2 in revenge spots. Lost to the Heat, lost to the Trailblazers. And that was the last one that we just saw. They beat the Pistons, but they lost to the Bucks as well. So let's see if they're on the road in revenge games. 1-3 straight up, 1-3 against the spread. Yeah, I think you'll get a really good effort though. What's the team totals here? I know that the defense has been struggling, but if Jalen Suggs comes back, you think the Jazz? Do we think the Jazz can hold the Magic can hold the Jazz under 106.5 points? We think the Jazz get to 107? That's a low number, man. A low number. Very low number. Got to keep in mind some of these teams just waiting for the All-Star break too. I'm going to wait for the Magic to get home and Suggs to be in the lineup, Brian says. There's nothing wrong with that at all. Nothing wrong with that. Jacob says, don't overthink it. Just take the Magic. I don't think it's that easy, Jacob. Hopefully you're right, though. Justin says Magic -5 in his pocket. Last time betting them if they sell them. Jazz tank mode, Chris. Throwing stats away, bro. I don't know about that, Jacob. Here's the reason why. Because when we just look at it, right, we look at the last 5 games, and this is how I look at the game. So when they played against these really good teams, the Timberwolves, the Warriors, the Bucks, the Grizzlies, they didn't cover any of these games. They 0-4 against the spread in their last 4. They covered against the Thunder. When they were playing against the bad teams, they covered against the Pelicans. They covered against the Hornets. They beat the Nets outright. So when they were playing against some of these softer teams, they were actually in the Magic without Suggs. Maybe I don't know. It is a big step down in class, I guess. I'm just thinking out loud, clearly. It's a big step down in class when you go from Portland to Utah. But like I said, Utah got all their bodies. So I'm just thinking out loud, like I said. Jazz are tanking. Tanking don't mean you can't cover the number, though. Sounds like most people like the Magic, but I wish you guys all the success. I don't think I would be playing this game. I've also said 1-800 gambling game. And I agree with that, Steve. He says, honestly, you can't use the trends with the Magic. I don't think you can use the trends with the Jazz either, though. Like, I talked about this on Cal's show yesterday. The Jazz, like, their roster turnover is so inconsistent. Like, John Collins hasn't been playing, like, for 7-8 games. He come back last game and they get smoked. He probably going to come back today. He come play today and they probably going to look a lot better. Same thing with Lauri Markkanen. Like, both of these teams have had so many injuries throughout the season. I'd be interested to see how many different lineups these two teams have played so far this season. Probably top 5 in the NBA. J-Man says Jazz 5-2 against the spread versus the East at home. Also 2-1 against the spread at home on Saturdays. Orlando 2-5 against the spread versus the West. So you look like you like I don't know what you like. Just some numbers there. Dougie Bone says someone on the Magic has to get assists. Yeah, that's true. We'll see if Jalen Suggs is. I do agree with this from Jacob. He says Suggs is massive. You need him in. He has a massive impact on the game for sure. So I guess I lean towards them if Suggs does play, or maybe a Jazz team total under, because I do think this game's gonna be played pretty slow. We'll see though. I probably won't bet it. Next one up, Nuggets and the Hornets. This is another game that I don't really have a lot of interest in. 13.5 is the number that the Nuggets are laying. I don't think I can lay that many points with the Nuggets watching them play defense against anybody, honestly. I know Charlotte, exerted a lot of energy to keep that game close last night against the Clippers. Almost won the game. I think they lost by like 6. I initially thought under was the play. The total's going the opposite way. And that's probably because the Nuggets can't stop anybody right now. The Sixers scored 130 points last night with no PG and no Maxey. And this is the last game, I think, of the road trip. So both teams can submit injury reports late. That's something to wait on. I've been getting burned by the injury report. It feels like very, very frequently. So I'm not running to the window to bet this game. Westbrook did leave the game yesterday. I don't think he returned. With left hamstring tightness, that's something to take into consideration. And then on the Charlotte side, they will still be without Mark Williams. Also left the game last night. Foot didn't return. So, I mean, you're talking about another layup line for the Denver Nuggets. If without Mark Williams, you're starting Taj Gibson. Man, Denver should be able to do the same exact thing that they did last night. I know they didn't cover the spread, but taking their team total up and over. I know Charlotte's playing a whole lot slower than Philly is, but as I'm just kind of thinking it out, Josh Okogie game time decision. They still gonna be without LaMelo. No Brandon Williams, of course. Cody Martin could potentially play in this one after being ruled out Friday. Not sure if he's gonna play. Denver did beat Charlotte earlier this season. They covered the 17 points that they were laying at home by a point. They beat them by 18. That game did go under the 225. 6 straight unders in the head-to-head matchup between the two. 7 of the last 10 have actually stayed under between these two teams. And I think, this is last game of a 5-game road trip for Denver. They are 7-2 against the spread when they're playing unrested this season. I'm just not sure how motivated they're going to be after finally getting a win last night. They're 1-4, 1-3 on this road trip, with the only win being by a bucket last night against Philly. So yeah, when I was looking last night, what I wrote in my notes is in the Killer Sports database, home dogs getting 13 points or more facing an opponent that's unrested are 16-8-2 to the under, 66%. Hornets have been double-digit home dogs 5 times this season, in all 5 of the games. All 5 of the games have actually gone under by an average of 10 points. So real quick, I can pull that up. Let's look at that. I'll show you guys this real quick, and then I'll go through the comments because this is a game that I don't think I'm going to be betting either. All right, so let's see. This is Give Me the Dog. Free. Let's see. All right, so this is Give Me the Dog. I think I still got this in here from last night. Let's see if I can go back and find it. If not, I'll type it all over again. Yeah, here we go. So last night, that Clippers game was the only one that went up and over the total. Make sure you guys can see this. So this is just Hornets as a double-digit home favorite, a double-digit home dog this season. Last night was the only game that went up and over. They're 5-1 to the under. You can see here that the games are averaging 212 points, 101 to 111. And last night against the Clippers, when I needed them to stay under 99, under 100, they go over by 6 points. And so, yeah, it's a strong trend toward the under here. But the Nuggets offense is just, they should be able to get whatever it is that they want. And I don't trust Denver defensively either. I mean, they are bad, man. I'm not sure who's going to score for Charlotte. I'll say that again. I do think that was an anomaly last night. I don't think we're going to see Charlotte offense just look great, but I don't know. That's just my thought process on this game. All right. So back to the comments, see what the thoughts are on this one, and we'll keep it moving. God is my boss, says Isaiah Collier. He likes the rebounds and assists. Going back to that last game. Miranda says, I like John Collins over his points and Kessler over his 9.5 boards. Miranda be cashing. Okay. Definitely a tough night to cap last night. I'd lean over in the OKC game and under in the Knicks game. We'll get to those games. Clips don't even play bad defense. They just turn the ball over like an AAU team. How though? Like, who out there locking you up from the Charlotte Hornets? I'll give it to Charlotte. They are defensively, if you put some numbers behind it, Charlotte has been a pretty, whenever LaMelo doesn't play, their defense gets a lot better. Same thing for Brandon Miller. I've been talking about that all season. So just some numbers real quick. Charlotte is the 7th best defensive rated team last 5 games, holding opponents to 109.5 points per 100 possessions. On the full season, they're actually in the top half of the league. They're 14th defensively. Denver is the 2nd worst defensive rated team over the last 5 games. 127.6 points allowed per 100 possessions. Opponents are averaging 130. No way I'm looking towards Charlotte team total under today. What is Charlotte team total? It's 103.5 on Fanatics right now, minus 120, and 104.5 everywhere else. It looks like if they can score that many points, if they can get to 106 or 5 or whatever they got to last night against the Clippers, they should be able to get there against Denver too. Maybe that's the look. J-Man says I'm on the under here. Denver team total over for the first quarter. Think they get to 35, Brian says. I don't know, man. I don't know. I hope you cash it though, Brian, if you take it. I don't think I'm gonna be playing this one. Jokic just scored 26 points on a back-to-back this season at every game, Jacob says. Diabate double-doubled last night. Yeah, it's a revenge game for him. He used to play for the Clippers. Diabate did. They high for a reason, Steven. They high for a reason. Especially when you think about the way his teammates don't show up on some nights. And no Westbrook either. He's going to have to do more, in my opinion. Christian likes Joker over his rebounds and assists. JFX says Nuggets going to cover. Who's going to take care of Jokic and Gordon is my thought process. Russ going to be running the game too. Russ might not even play. And, the Nuggets just got this way of just not playing hard for whatever reason. Just leaving the energy and effort on the plane and not playing hard at all. Anthony says Christian Braun over his rebounds and assists, rebounds and points is good money. Hit the number 5 straight games. Manny says the under looks good here. What up, DJ? Hornets games don't require defense. They've been playing it themselves, though. J-Man like Joker to score 26.5. Let's move over to the next one. We got the Kings and the Thunder. All right, so this game is actually, now we're getting into regular start time games. So this is an 8-10 start time game, played at OKC. Line opened at 9. It's come down. Kings actually taking some money here, pushing this down from 9 to 8.5, and the total is going up. It's open 234.5 is what I wrote in my notes. It's up to 237 now. Up to 237, 236.5. So money coming in on the over, money coming in on the Kings. As far as head-to-head goes, OKC used to be dominated by Sacramento. The team before last year owned this Thunder team. They had won 7 straight games, the Kings had, over the Thunder. And the Thunder have actually pulled off the last 3 of the head-to-head matchup. They've covered all 3 as well, including the one that happened earlier this season. They beat this Kings team 130-109. They were laying 3.5 points as a home favorite in that game. So for the Sacramento Kings, they are playing the last of a 5-game road trip, even though they do have 2 days of rest in between. After they lost to Philly, I think, in their last one. They've lost 3 of their last 4 games, and the only win actually came against the Brooklyn Nets. So Sacramento coming back down to earth a little bit. Maybe that's because of the De'Aaron Fox trade, speculation and all the stuff that's coming out of his camp with Clutch Sports. The Kings are actually only 3-6-1 against the spread in their last 10 games. So not playing as hard for Doug Christie, as they had been. And then on the Oklahoma City side of things, I don't know. Y'all tell me in the comment section. Y'all think OKC just kind of gearing up for the All-Star break? I think that the defensive intensity is gone now. Because remember, this team was the best defense in the league, and it won't even close. They were giving up like 103 points per 100 possessions. Last 5 games, though, they're giving up 114. And this is a couple games with Isaiah Hartenstein back. They are off 2 days rest. First game back home after a brief little 2-game road trip. They lost to Golden State when the Golden State was on the second leg of a back-to-back. They beat Portland, but they didn't cover either one of the spreads. They're actually 0-4 against the spread in their last 4 games out of Oklahoma City Thunder. Defensively, even with Isaiah Hartenstein back, they're not getting the stops the way that they have. And that's actually led to the totals, when you see this one going up, being 8-1-1 to the over in their last 10 games. So, I mean, that's a strong trend for OKC defense not being as, not doing as much. They do also got a big look ahead to the Bucks, and I always think OKC doesn't look ahead too much, but they got the Bucks coming up on Tuesday, and that's the NBA Cup revenge game. So maybe they get up for that one. They've already beaten Sacramento a couple times. Sacramento is definitely falling off. Like I feel like this. I mean, they're bottom 5 in their offensive efficiency has dropped. They're 18th. Their defensive efficiency, 6th worst defensive rated team last 5 games. But I don't know if I want to catch the falling knife with OKC, because, like I said, they're the 14th defensive rated team, even though on the season they're still number 1 over the last 5 games. And they played against the 5th easiest schedule. Like, when you look at OKC real quick, we just look at the Thunder schedule. They haven't been playing against tough teams. Let's see. Last 5 games for the Thunder have come against the Warriors, the Trailblazers, the Mavericks, the Jazz, and the Nets. And the only cover they got came against the Nets. They didn't even cover against the Jazz and gave up 114. The Mavs beat them outright. The Blazers hung with them for a long time. They ended up winning that game by 10, but they went under the Blazers went over their team total as well. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 straight opponents that's actually gone up and over their team total against the Thunder. Do they bring it today? I'm not sure, man. I don't know. I don't really know what to do with OKC. Not right now in the moment. Let's see what y'all thinking about this one. And I didn't even look at it from a player prop perspective, but if it's a player prop you want me to look into, let me know. Let me know. Let's see. I think I went too far. GLB says he played this over. He got it at 234. System play. Okay. Keegan Murray for Jacob over his 16.5 points plus rebounds. This is his favorite play. Keegan Murray. Okay. I kind of agree with this. I don't think they're going to take it serious. Adrian says he likes over. Sacramento 0-4 gets spread away on Sacramento on Saturday. OKC for me, J-Man says he's going to lay it. Sabonis over his 40.5 points, rebounds, and assists, man, he says. I could see that. Could definitely see that. I didn't talk about the injury report, and that's my fault. Let's go back real quick. Make sure I didn't miss anything. Yeah, just Caruso and Chad, of course. AJ Mitchell continues to be out, that fractured hand. Sacramento going to have a clean injury report today, off 2 days rest. Both of these teams off 2 days rest is interesting to me. Let's see. When I look at pace numbers, Sacramento's still playing pretty fast. They're 12th in pace last 5 games. On the road, they play at the 6th fastest pace. OKC is 17th in pace last 5 games. So they've actually slowed down a little bit. We'll see what happens in this one. Michael says over as well. Malik Monk over his 6.5 assists. Miranda says she likes Monk to get 25 points and assists. Taking the over there as well. Ugly Pick says later points with OKC. Fox under 22.5, Jacob says. Hard to press the button, but the way the line says Kings, OKC minus 8.5 is way too easy. Mel says, I don't really feel too strong about it, if I'm being honest. LJ says Shea averaging 37 at home versus the West last 7 games, 35 plus points to at plus 138. LJ likes SGA in this spot. Fahrenheit says Kings play no defense. Hardenstein should go off. Yeah, Hardenstein was in a good matchup against OKC and had against Golden State and had 4 points the last game too. So maybe it's a bounce back spot for him. J-Man says be careful fading Fox. He's over in 5 of his last 7 games against OKC. What up, Porter? It's top of the morning, Chris. I like Shea over his line after the loss against Golden State. Yeah, Shea had 52. It wasn't his fault. He just didn't play any defense. Manny says over is the play. OKC defense hasn't been the same without Hardenstein. Hardenstein's back though, so we'll see how that goes. We'll see if they can lock up Sacramento. Did I say anything about the totals in this one? I think they've been kind of going back and forth between the two as far as head-to-head goes. When they played earlier this season, it did go over, and that total was 225. They scored 239 points in that game. Last season, they played at 227.5. That one went under. And they also played at a 240, and they got a push. So yeah, totals have been kind of all over the place. 5, 3, and 2 to the over in the last 10 though. I don't know, man. It's interesting. I don't really like playing overs in OKC games because I think about them as being a defensive team coming off a loss as a favorite. Maybe they bounce back. I'm not sure. Let's see what the Thunder are coming off a loss as a favorite. They are 5 and 3 to the over still though. Only giving up 107. But their last two opponents have actually gone up and over their team total. So maybe OKC, like I said, maybe they're just looking forward to the All-Star break, man. I'm not sure. Maybe the defense is going to continue to fall off a little bit. Nice and simple for me. Sabonis over his board, Vaughn says. Even with Hardenstein back, he should be able to get there. I couldn't talk you off of that. Taylor says he likes Monk under 19.5 points. OKC allows the second fewest points to the pick and roll ball handlers with Fox in the lineup. Versus teams 10th or better versus pick and roll ball handler. He's under in 11 of his 14 games. I'll write this one down. Malik Monk under. We always like taking ball handlers under. Cashed a lot with James Harden in the spots against this team. But like I said, they just haven't been locked in defensively. Not as much. Not when you go out there and you give up, as many points as they have in their recent games. 116 to the Wizards on the second leg of a back-to-back. That was kind of crazy. Let's see. What else? Monk under 2.5 threes for Adrian. Felipe says, give me Sacramento plus the points. What up, Nayeli? Good morning to you. And Jacob says he likes Fox under. Fox under as well. I don't know. Did I freeze, Scott? Can everybody else see me? Let me know in the chat if y'all can see me or not. I'm going to keep talking. Hopefully I can. All right. Next one up. Wizards and the Timberwolves. When I saw this game was on the slate, I was like, bro, I'm not even trying to go handicap this, man. All I wrote in my notes is appreciate you, Brian. All I wrote in my notes for this one, I looked at the situational spots, but bro, I'm good off the Wizards in the Minnesota Timberwolves. We made some money fading the Wizards this season. I don't think I want to touch this game, though. So injury report, I did see that Brogdon could potentially return. Maybe that's the reason why this line has gotten shorter. I think this opened at 17 is what I saw. And it's down to 15.5, so people putting their money on the Washington Wizards. So Brogdon upgraded to questionable. He's missed 14 straight games. I think Alex Sarr missed that game. He missed the last game. He will continue to be out with an ankle injury. He's already been ruled out. The Wizards also have just Bagley out and Sadiq Bey, who hasn't played. I don't think Sadiq Bey has played a game for them this season. And on the Timberwolves, Mike Conley missed that game, second leg of a back-to-back with a finger injury, right? It was a thumb. Yeah, he's listed as questionable. He could play. And then Dante DiVincenzo, of course, is out. Julius Randle left that game against the Utah Jazz with a quad injury, I think it was. And he never returned. He's also already been ruled out in this game as well. Julius Randle was it a quad or growing? I think it was growing. Yeah, I saw him reaching as growing. Yeah. So Julius Randle will not be active for this game today. That provides a whole lot of usage for somebody. Who is it going to be? Is it Naz Reid that we take up and over? So Minnesota, not that I should even read this. They've won 3 straight in the head-to-head matchup between the Wizards. The Wizards did cover, though. They covered this 14.5-point dogs at home dogs like a couple weeks ago when these two teams just played. 106 to 120 was the final score. It did go up and over the 223.5, and this total is 221.5. Washington's lost like a million games in a row, man. They've actually failed to cover their last 3. This is the worst team in basketball history, are the Washington Wizards. They're worse than the Detroit Pistons last season. I'll go out on a limb and say that their numbers are way worse. Their offense is terrible. Their defense is terrible. Minnesota's actually been hooping too. I'm just not laying this big of a number based on who they had to play recently. It's just, I don't know. I can't lay this big of a number with the Timberwolves. Remember, I said the Timberwolves as a home favorite, they typically don't cover. Just bring that up real quick. I said this the other day, and they failed to cover against the Hawks. They're 4-15 against the spread as a home favorite. That is horrible. 21% are the Timberwolves as a home favorite this season. 21%, and they failed to cover 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in a row. But do I want the Wizards? Nah, I'll pass on them too. So I can't get there with the spread. Cannot get there with the spread. I can't put money. I'm on a 7-pick losing streak. I can't put my money on the Wizards though. Ain't no way possible I could do that. Yeah, I'll just take thoughts on this one. Like I said, maybe Nas Reed. Just because he should be in a pretty good spot. Easy pass for me here, though. Let's see what y'all are thinking about this one. Guys, Les says he likes Jaden McDaniels up and over his boards. Mel says skip. Wizards versus Hornets is a pass. Let's talk about the Super Bowl instead, Alfonso says. I always try to bring something, man. Nally says easy pass. Analysis from Chris. Kid says, Chris Kidd says, Wizards are terrible. Give me Minnesota first half. Yeah, my son said, man, the Wizards are horrible, Dad. Boy, it's bad right now, man. Dean says Timberwolves first quarter -6. So Brogdon plays, like maybe. It's like, nah, I'm just kidding, man. Brogdon is better. Like, they're a lot better with Brogdon, though. But definitely can't count on the Wolves. Right there with you, user. Glad Randall is out, though. Back to the Wizards team total under. I can't play the Wizards team total under today, just because I don't trust the Timberwolves in this spot. Team total is 102.5. That's way too low, way too low. I know their offense struggles and they suck, but that's way too low, way too low. User says read threes. Wizards don't cover on the road. Timberwolves might win by 30. I'll take the Wolves. Nayeli says okay. Wizards team total under 103 for Dean. He said he'll still play it. Wizards first half under. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Why not Wizards team total? Because it's too low for me, Anthony. It's too low, man. It should get there, but yeah, Timberwolves, they play around with their food a little too much for me. There was a strong trend, and I'll just bring this up real quick and we get over to the next game. I talked about liking the Hawks team total under. When they played. So if the Timberwolves are at home, I think it's a favorite, and they're double-digit home favorites. Those games have been unders. So 3-1 to the under. In all seriousness, they have held every opponent under their team total so far this season. And I'll share this on the screen real quick, and then we'll get over to the next game. So this is the Wizards. This is the Timberwolves as a home favorite this season. Make this a little bit bigger so you can see it better. So Wizards as a home favorite. Timberwolves as a home favorite. They're laying double digits as a home favorite. 3-1. You can see 3-1 to the under here. Their opponents are averaging 97 points per game, and the DPA is the delta points allowed. So how many points they've allowed? They held the Raptors to 101, the Hornets to 93. They held the Trailblazers to 102, and the Hawks to 92. So this is a look, I guess. I don't think I'm playing it today though. I kind of just want to sit back and see where the dust gonna just let the dust fall and let it settle and all that good stuff. Because I don't really want to have too many plays and be sweating out a Wizard team total under either. So yeah, maybe that's a good look, but not anything I have in my pocket. Taylor played it at 104.5 as well. I'm sorry, Jacob played it at 104, and Taylor says he likes Ant to get 6 assists here. Randall and DiVincenzo off the court, and on the court with the projected starting 5, he's averaging a little over 7.5 assists per 36 minutes. With Randall on the court, it drops to 4.03 assists per game. So I think Ant is the facilitator. I couldn't talk you off. Maybe a little sprinkle of Ant double-double. Could see him getting a double-double in this game. My favorite game of the night, Mel, is the one that I bet, and that's the Pacers. It's actually a day game. The Pacers and the Hawks that's the only one I got money on right now. That's my favorite day of the game of the day. But I'm also interested to see, I'll be watching the Orlando Magic and the Utah Jazz as well, though. I do think, I do want to see it. If Suggs plays, I'm interested to see what Orlando does coming off a couple losses in a row. See if they can bounce back. So yeah, I'm interested. I'm excited in that game to see that game. I ain't really excited to see too many of the other games, if I'm being honest. My Lakers and the Knicks, we haven't talked about that, but we'll talk about that one. And then I'm not really super excited for Portland and Suns, but we'll talk about that one too. I do kind of lean towards Portland. We'll talk about that one. Let's see. What else y'all saying in the comments? Lingowick says alt line 17.5 for the Wolves. Pacers minus 7.5 rated. We talked about that game already. I got a 5.5, I think. So yeah, I need that. Need the Pacers today. Need them bad. All right, let's jump into the next one. We got the Brooklyn Nets and the Houston Rockets. Another really like a game that I'm not interested in betting just because of the super high point spread. The Brooklyn Nets are super bad at basketball, but they do have the rest here. Situationally, you could say this lines up better for them than it does for Houston. So we look at the injury report real quick. Brooklyn is without Clowney, without Cam Johnson, without Cam Thomas. Looks like they're gonna have D'Angelo Russell. Ben Simmons should be active. And on the Houston side, Sengun is listed as questionable with that calf injury that kept him out of the last game that they played against Memphis. Jabari Smith Jr., of course, is out also. So immediately what I thought about was probably looking at Amin Thompson, his boards. I feel like Brooklyn's going to miss a bunch of shots. Amin is an absolute animal, a dog. I think this is going to be his first game back home since his birthday, him and Assur's birthday. So that's what I was looking at. Maybe a look towards his boards. I feel like he's been crashing the boards a lot. Let's go back to Outlier and look at that. I don't really want to play the spread though. Like I said, it sets up for a Brooklyn spot. I don't know if I could take points for Brooklyn. Houston has been balling. First game back home after a 4-game road trip, though. That makes it a Brooklyn spot. Brooklyn also coming off 2 days rest. They did get a win against Charlotte the other day. Offensively, they've struggled to score, which is why this totals come down. 5 straight under, 7-3 to the under last 10. Houston road trip was successful. They're 7-3 straight up in their last 10, 6-3-1 against the number. Lost to Memphis by just 1 point, and their offense has been clicking. 7-3 to the over in their last 10 games. So I don't know. Houston at the crib, typically a pretty good spot, but it's not. I don't feel comfortable betting this game either. It's not one that I want to have in my pocket. Could be a flat spot for the Rockets. I think the Rockets actually got a good team on deck as well. Real quick, I forgot to write it down last night, but the Rockets actually played. They played the Knicks. They play at Madison Square Garden on Tuesday. I'm sorry, on Monday. So yeah, they could potentially overlook this Brooklyn Nets team. This is the first meeting between the two teams this season as well. Yeah, and the two teams do play again on Wednesday. These two teams play again on Wednesday in Brooklyn too, just FYI. So I didn't play the game, but like I said, let's go look at Amin Thompson rebounds real quick. I think it's a good spot for him. Amin Thompson. All right, so this, of course, is Outlier. Like I said, like I always say, if you're interested in checking out Outlier, you can get it for a 7-day free trial. Link in the description of the video. So Min, she is over 3.5 assists, been cashing too. Out here, diamond. Okay, might need to look at his assists plus rebounds. I was looking at his boards that are set at 8.5. He's going under in back-to-back games against two pretty good rebounding teams. Atlanta is a good rebounding team, and Memphis is I think one of the top 5 rebounding teams in the league as well. So let's see. I love that he's playing so many minutes. Let's just look at the full season when he plays at least 35 minutes. I think last 10 games he has been playing, let's see, 38 minutes. You can see that right here. So he's been playing pretty much the whole game. On the full season, if he plays, let's just go 35 minutes. He's up and over the number 67% of the game. So 10 of his 15 games, he's gotten at least 9 boards. I just kind of feel like against Brooklyn, they're going to miss a lot of shots. He's going to be the person that's going to be crashing the glass. You can see the average. He's averaging 10.87. It's a couple games in here where he's had 16 against Cleveland, against the Lakers, Yeah, it should be a bunch of missed shots in my opinion. I like men up and over his 8.5 boards here. Yeah, not sure if I'll play it though. But that. Oh, and I didn't even move myself out the way. But yeah, here's Amin Thompson boards, averaging 10.787 when he's played 35 minutes or more, which is right here. And then you can see he's cashed 67%. So 3 of his last 4, he is coming off a game against Memphis, where you can see that they rank 10th in rebounding as well. It's not that Brooklyn is a bad rebounding team either, but they are 20th against the power forward position, which is where he plays. Power forward, small forward. I think about him more as like a power forward. Dylan Brooks playing the 3, but yeah, I like him in this game if I'm playing anything from a player prop perspective. Didn't look at the Brooklyn team total under either, just because I've lost so much juice on it. The line has moved a lot already. Their team total for today is 99.5. I'm not messing around with that on a Saturday, man. I'm good. Mike says Brooklyn might win this one, so he's definitely sounds like he's leaning toward taking the points. GLB says Houston minus 14. No problem laying this. Okay. Not messing with Brooklyn first quarter, but I can understand why you like it, Jacob. Definitely understand. To me, it just feels like Houston play hard every single game. Not looking to fade Houston, man. I just faded them against Memphis, and Ja Morant ended up getting ruled out. They covered that game too. So I'm not looking to fade Houston. I know it's a big number. Not looking to fade Houston, though. Brian says first quarter, maybe again. Yeah, I could see people liking the first quarter with the Rockets' first game home after a 4-game road trip. There's a big number to lay in the first quarter. 5 is a lot of points with the variance that can happen in the first quarter. I couldn't talk anybody off. LJ says Nets are 1-5 against the spread last 6 versus the West. Teams that have a 50% win percentage or better. Rockets 10-4 against the spread off a loss this season. 8-2 against the spread versus the East last 10. Sounds like he likes his Rockets today. Going against the Rockets rarely goes well, but I can't remember the last time they were 15-point favorites. Mel says, let's look at that then. Let's see when the last time they were 15-point favorites. Last time, I don't even think they was laying this big of a number against Portland earlier. I know they were laying against Portland earlier this season. Pretty big number. Let's just look at them as a home favorite, a double-digit home favorite. So they've been a double-digit home favorite 3 times this season. They're 2-1 straight up and against the spread. That game, so they laid 12 against the Wizards. They won and covered that game 107-92. That's when their offense wasn't clicking yet, though. This was back on November the 11th. And then on November the 22nd, they played the back-to-back games against the Trailblazers. I remember this one. On Friday night, they smoked them, beat them by 28, and then turned around on Saturday and lost the game outright. Lost outright by 6. I do remember that. The common theme here, though, is that all of the games are under games, and they're staying under by a large margin. The game against the Wizards stayed under by 32 points. The game against the Blazers stayed under by 22 points. The game against the Blazers stayed under by 23 points. So you're looking at an average of 26 points are these games going under. Each of their opponents have stayed under their team total. They've stayed under their team total. But this is a lot lower. Those totals were 231, 226.5, and 225.5. This one is 212.5. So it's a much lower total here in this one. Yeah, it's enough to keep me off. But yeah, 3-0 to the under when they're home favorite laying this many points. Well, more like 14.5 is something they haven't laid this season. So yeah, that's a big number, man. Let's see. James Harden probably was on the team the last time they laid this many points. This is the first time the Rockets have laid 14 points since 2020 against the Knicks. February 24th, they were laying 14 points against the Knicks. They won the game, didn't cover. And I'm pretty sure Harden was on that team. Yeah, so there you go. It's been 5 years since they laid this many points at home or in general. All right, let's see. GLB says I have systems trends on this one. One of them is 11-2 against the spread. Take double-digit favorites facing the non-conference opponent who they lost to in the last matchup, even though that loss was last season. Okay. Raptors fans is leaning Jalen Green over his 21.5 points. Haven't gotten there yet, though. Yeah, Jalen Green's been hooping, man. He has been hooping. Manny likes his Jalen Green as well over his points, rebounds, and assists. Amin been sailing over his rebounds last few games. He's been scoring a little bit more recently. Worth a look today, Vaughn says. That's what I like as well. GLB says rested home teams off a road loss by 3 or less, 15-5 against the numbers, so they bounce back. That would kind of lead me to Rockets first half too, GLB. Rockets typically play good basketball. When they win, they typically play good early. Let's see. Taylor says he likes Amin over his points, 15.5 over 9 of his 12 games without Jabari Smith Jr., averaging almost 19. He says he scores 26% of his points in transition. That's allowed at 26 most points in transition. Amin scores 64% of his points in the restricted area. Nets also ranked 24th in the restricted area. And Noah Clowney's not playing. That's another big. So I like this look. Maybe I like the rebounds too. So maybe it's just points plus rebounds for Amin today. Let's see what that number is. Points plus rebounds. $24.5, 25.5 everywhere else, but DraftKings got a 24.5. I like that. Amin over 24.5 points plus rebounds. I just showed the assists as well. Maybe you just take the whole thing over. Maybe you just take his points, rebounds, and assists over. The assist was cashing too. Man, okay. I'm gonna put a star beside this one. Amin up and over 24.5 points, rebounds, and assists. I like that. I like that a lot. I don't know, Manny. I don't know, man. If I had to guess, I would say no. I don't think they can score 100 points, but it's not anything I want to bet on today. Not anything I want to bet on today. Do think it's going to be hard for them to score the basketball, though. So I guess I would lean under, but not anything that I'm a bet, though. I do see it all the way down to 98.5 on most books, but I would have wanted to get to the number early. And now I see it dropping to 97.5. As I speak, I'm not watching the odds screen move. The Brooklyn Nets team total is getting lower and lower, but this full game total opened at 216.5 is down to 212.5. So I like to get to these numbers early. I probably could have, I'm losing a 1.5 of value. So this probably opened like 101.5 or something. So I'll stay off of it now. Didn't bet it. LJ likes Jalen Green to hit 4 threes at plus 141. I like it, Manny. I like it. Nally says the Rockets at home at the crib. Go stupid dummy crazy. Come on. So she sounds like she likes the Rockets as well. Frank likes Fred VanVleet up and over. His 9.5 rebounds and assists. Chad says, how about them Spurs? Morning, guys. Yeah, Spurs got the job done last night. Caught the falling knife last night, Chad. Didn't even hurt your hand, man. Shout out to you. I know you liked them yesterday when nobody else did. All right, let's go to the next one. We got just 2 more, I think, right? 1, 2. We actually got 3 more. So speed up a little bit. Going super slow. Lakers and the Knicks. This game opened with the Knicks laying 9.5. They're up to 10.5 point favorites. Total open 227.5, and it's come down to 224 now. 224.5 now. So injury report for the Lakers. They will be without Anthony Davis. We know he's out. Rui Hachimura is probable. LeBron James is probable. Gabe Vincent is questionable. Dorian Finney-Smith is questionable. And Josh Hart is questionable as well, but he continues to play. He's just listed as questionable here. So first meeting of the season, you got a Lakers team that all in all said they've actually been playing some pretty good basketball from a last 10 perspective. They are 7-3 straight up, 5-4-1 against the number in their last 10 games. They beat the Wizards by 38 on Thursday as an 8.5 point favorite. This is the 5th of a 6-game road trip for them. And then for the Knicks, they've been hooping 5 straight wins. They've won 7 of their last 10. They've covered 3 in a row. All 3 of the covers have come by double digits. And this is the 4th straight home game for them. They got the Houston Rockets, I think, up next on Wednesday. So this makes for a very interesting matchup, man. I know that without AD, the Lakers, are probably supposed to get smoked in this game. The Knicks have been absolutely hot as well. I'm not taking the Lakers, but the Knicks, it seems like they're gonna cool down eventually, right? I think I agree with the total coming down for the Lakers anyway. I think they could potentially struggle to score the basketball here. Knicks defense has been really, really solid recently as well. I think the Lakers are gonna want to play slow. It's gonna be about, in my opinion, it's gonna be about if they can actually get some stops. So let's look into it a little bit more. Lakers, Knicks. Last 5 games, Lakers are 24th in pace, played against the 8th easiest schedule, 10th in offensive efficiency, but I think that's a large part due to the game against the Wizards where they scored almost 140 points. They're 3rd in defensive rating and 4th in efficiency rating in general. The Knicks, number 1 in efficiency rating. They're winning by about 16 points per 100 possessions. This is the number 2 rated offense, the number 5 rated defense, playing against the 18th easiest strength of schedule. And I don't know, man. I just don't want to fade the Knicks right now. This team is playing really, really good. I do think that there's potential. Like, we know when players come to the Garden, they're gonna try to bring their all and give it everything that they have. That's what we have seen, but it hasn't really mattered. The Nuggets came in desperation spot, got smoked. They smoked they smoked the Kings in here as well. Knicks playing really good basketball, man. Maybe the line's going the right way from 9.5 to 11. But there is something. Knicks is double-digit favorites. Oh, this is where they've been really good. 7-1 straight up, 5-1-2 against the spread. So a couple pushes in here, but they have covered these numbers. When the Knicks have been a double-digit favorite, they are winning by about 16 points per game. The last one that they lost was against the Magic, but they beat the Raptors in this spot. They smoked the Jazz in this spot, beat the Raptors again in this spot, got a push when they were laying 14. Beat the Hornets in this spot, beat the Pelicans in this spot. Like, they're playing really good basketball right now. Defensively is where they typically turn up as well. Held the Raptors 12.5 points under their team total, only gave up 98. The Magic only scored 103. The Jazz only scored 103. The Hornets only scored 101. Pelicans scored 85. So yeah, their defense only giving up 103 points per game if they're a home favorite. Let's see. I don't think the Lakers have been a double-digit dog this season. Yeah, first time all season the Lakers have been a double-digit dog. Makes sense because no AD. When they are road dog, they're losing by an average of 12 points, and they do not get stops. 1, 2, 3. Last 3 opponents have gone up and over their team total. They're giving up about 117 points per game in this spot as a road dog. If we look at these bigger lines, so they've been close to a double-digit dog. They both times against the Timberwolves, they were getting 7.5 points and 8.5 points. They lost both of those games, didn't cover either one of them, and both of them went under. Against the Suns, they also went under. They were getting 4.5 in that spot. So if the Lakers are getting 4.5 or more on the road, it's a strong under spot. They are 4-1 to the under, and they stay under their team total in 45 games. The one that they went over was by a half a point. So Lakers team total under makes a lot of sense, especially with the Knicks, the way that they're playing basketball right now. The Lakers team total is 107.5 on Bet365. And I'm also getting to this number late because the total has dropped 3 points. So you probably could have got like a 109.5 or 108. But Lakers team total under 107.5. Let's see. Yeah, the Lakers caught fire in that game against the Wizards as well. That's one thing I think is important to mention. They were hitting threes, and that's why my total didn't cover. Because the Lakers decided to make some threes, and you never see that. The Lakers shot 15 for 32 from the three-point line, 47%. You just don't see that. LeBron hit a logo one. He didn't hit no more, but he hit a logo one. Rui hit 4 for 5 against his old team. Austin Reeves hit 4-7. Max Christie hit 3 of 5. If Max Christie could hit 3 of 5 threes, the Lakers might win the championship. Dalton Connect hit 2 off the bench. I just don't think that that's sustainable. If we look at what the Knicks have been doing good defensively, and then I'll go through the comments real quick. I just want to look at my numbers and my models real quick. So the Knicks defensively, New York. The Lakers are a team that struggle to score, from outside. They don't even shoot a lot of threes. They shoot the 5th fewest threes at the 16th best rate. Last 5 games, they still struggling against the 3. They're giving up. They're shooting the 6th fewest threes last 5 games, 7 fewest threes, and they're shooting 34.5%. Even with that big game against the Wizards in the last one. So they're bottom 10 in 3-point frequency and accuracy. So you really just need the Knicks to be able to protect the rim, and they have been protecting the rim. They're number 1 in opponent rim accuracy, number 4 in opponent paint frequency, and 15th in opponent paint accuracy last 5 games. Lakers don't push the pace. They don't really score a lot in transition. Knicks have been good there. Yeah, I think it's a Lakers team total under. Yeah, I think we look at Lakers team total under. Let's see what you guys are thinking about this one, based on what I'm just looking at. Cuppa Joe says he liked Malik Beasley, Mikal Bridges over his points. User says Knicks gonna dog walk the Lakers. Brian says gonna watch this game. New York is gonna be tough at home, but I'm liking the Lakers plus 10.5. Not gonna be on it. Knicks minus 10.5. 77 figure says like a Saturday night blowout. No Davis, it could get ugly. Dropping downs like the Knicks to get to 118. So real quick on this Knicks to get to 118 front. Let's see. Knicks to get to 118. So Knicks are the second best offensive rated team over the last 5 games. They're number 1 in turnover rate, so they don't turn the ball over. 6th best in offensive rebound percentage. And they're playing at the second fastest pace over the last 3 games. So they are scoring the basketball. It's been from the corner 3. They're hot from the 3-point line right now. Second most corner threes taken over the last 5 games, and they're shooting 47% from the corner 3. The Lakers are 19th in corner 3 frequency for their opponents last 5 games and 13th in opponent accuracy. The Knicks also number 1 in rim frequency, so they're gonna get to the rim. Jackson Hayes gonna be tested today for sure, with no AD being there. That's where the Knicks are taking their shots from, the corner 3 and at the rim. Number 1, like I said, in rim frequency over the last 5 games. Knicks also pushing pace. They're number 1 in transition frequency, number 1 in points allowed via the transition bucket. We know that the Lakers are not great in transition defense. Last 5 games, they're 11th in frequency and 18th in points allowed via transition. On the full season, they are 26th in opponent transition frequency and 28th in opponent transition efficiency. So this is not good. Yeah, the team total over looks like a pretty good look. Let's see what pace the Lakers are playing at. 24th though. The Knicks are actually playing a lot faster. They're 10th in pace. So I think the team total is going to be predicated on pace, but couldn't talk you off dropping downs. I can see the Knicks getting to 118 today. LJ says Knicks third quarter at the crib is a play. 18-6-1 against the spread. 7-2-1 against the spread last 10. Lakers 3-7 against the spread in the third quarter last 10. Also, LeBron averaging 10 assists on the road versus the East. Okay. Young Jay says he likes the Lakers team total under 107. Knicks minus 10.5 for Nayeli. Let's see. What up, Razor? Appreciate you for tapping in, bro. Hope all is well with you. Adam says Lakers double-digit dogs. Yep, first time all season. How you feel about the Spurs versus the Heat? We didn't talk about that game. I think that's the last one. Yeah, that's the only one he hit. He hit that one from the logo, dapping everybody up like he was out there 5 for 5 from the 3-point line. Brian kills me, bro. He kills me, man. Let's see. Brian says you're so right. Can't count on the shooting percentage from the Lakers. It would be a beautiful thing though, and I agree, but I'm not counting on that. Thomas says he just bet Reeves over his 21.5 points. Let's see. GLB says the Knicks 118 team total is sharp, but this is a good look from dropping dimes. I'm not sure if they need to get to that many. I think the Lakers could struggle to score. We'll see how that goes, though. All right, let's see what else we got. That's enough on that game. All right, now we get to the Heat and the Spurs, and then we got the Portland Trailblazers and the Phoenix Suns to wrap things up. So this line opened with the San Antonio Spurs laying 1 point. Now it's moved to 2. I do see it at 2.5 on a couple books as well, and the total has come down from 224 down to 222. So money coming in on the Spurs because they played great last night, fading the Miami Heat, and on the Spurs to play defense because the total has dropped as well. So looking at the matchup here, I think Spurs are a team that I'll probably want to stay away from right now. Like they're a lot better than they have been playing. And I said that yesterday. I just thought the Bucks, and I still think the Bucks are the better team. Like the Bucks have smoked the San Antonio Spurs in the 7-game series. The Spurs just can't put it together for like over the course of time, I guess. But they had the revenge. They, it was off the jet lag, and they got the job done yesterday against the Bucks. So is Spoelstra going to be able to cook up something against these Miami Heat? He has been, right? Miami has won 4 straight against the Spurs, and all of those games had Victor Wembanyama in them, I want to say. And specifically, I know the one earlier this year did. These two teams just played on the 19th, and the Spurs got blown out in that game. Kind of similar to the way the Spurs got blew out against the Bucks as well. 128-107 was that game. They were laying 3.5 points with the Miami Heat in that game. And I don't know if I remember watching the game. I can't remember who got in foul trouble, but somebody got in foul trouble for the Heat. I don't know if it was Howard Haysmith or somebody got in foul trouble. And that's when Kel'el Ware actually started cooking. This was the first game I think he played big minutes. They put him and Bam together, and they really slowed down Victor Wembanyama. Ware had 25 points and 8 boards in that game. Jimmy also played in that game, but he didn't really do much. He had 7 assists, but he only had 8 points. I think he played 27 minutes. So situationally, you got a Heat team that I don't really want to bet on. They're only 4-6 straight up in their last 10 games. And against the spread, 4-6 straight up and against the spread in their last 10 games. They're coming off that 20-point beatdown by the Cleveland Cavaliers the other day. And then we know what the San Antonio Spurs have been doing. They were 2-8 straight up and against the spread in their last 10 games going into last night's game. And they got a big win last night. Victor Wembanyama was out there making shots with his eyes closed. One time I saw him shoot a granny shot backwards and it went in. It's just whatever it is that they wanted to do last night, they were able to do. And that's the thing about San Antonio. A team that is that capable, it's really, really difficult to figure out when you want to fade them. I thought the Bucks coming off a loss last night with the right side. In this game, Spoelstra will have something up his sleeves because he always do. But it does feel like San Antonio should be able to win this game. They got more talent, in my opinion, than this Miami Heat team. Especially when everybody plays. And this is a 8:40 start time game. They are on the second leg of a back-to-back, so they could potentially rest somebody here. But San Antonio typically don't rest people. So 4th straight home game for them. Well, not 4th straight. 3rd straight home game for them. They play in Memphis coming up on Wednesday, so short travel. Miami does have the rest advantage here. And they play against the Bulls later on this week as well. So I don't know. I really don't know what to do with this game. I think San Antonio is the right side, but I've also seen them just absolutely wet the bed and not be locked in at all. The other thing I'll say real quick, and I'll pull this up because I was talking about this yesterday when I was on Cal's show. And I do think that there's some validity to this right here. So if we go back to Give Me the Dog, and we just look at the Spurs. I mentioned this on the show yesterday too. The Spurs, when they're playing and the total is greater than 225, right? When they're expected to keep up with their opponents, they typically don't. Let's zoom in a little bit so you can see this. So this is the Spurs when the total is greater than 225. That's up here. You can see that they're only 8-13 against the 8-13 straight up. You can see that right there. 6-15 against the spread. Last night was a win that they got against the Bucks, right? You can see that was the first game, one of the only games that they've won in quite a while. They did beat the Pacers in London. That was a turn-up game as well. But you see all these losses they have. They don't typically play well when they're supposed to be in high, games with high totals. But if you look at this and just all you got to do is take this and flip it the other way. When the total is less than 225 and they're playing defensive type games, they are a lot better. 12-11 straight up, 15-8 against the number, 65% are the San Antonio Spurs. You can see that they've lost the last two against the Heat and against the Clippers. But this is how I think about the Spurs. There's a team that like does struggle to put it together for the full game. There's been times where the Spurs have like really looked good in the first half for a large part of the season. And then there's been times where they look terrible in the first half and they come back and, you know, make the game close. There's also been times where if you just look at the Spurs all together, it feels more like they're a team that struggles in the fourth quarter and in the second half. But look at this. First quarter, they typically lose the first quarter. Overall, they're getting outscored by about a point. Second quarter, getting outscored by about a point. Third quarter, it looks like they're starting to turn it on. So they're +2 in the third quarter. And in the fourth quarter, about even. They're still getting outscored. So this is, you know, more recently. This is the full season. But when I think about the Spurs, I think about them more being a team that starts off early. But they just been having their lows, as you can see here. Big ATS win streak here, where they couldn't not cover a game, and then recently more like they could cover a game, and then recently like they can't cover a game. So that's been the San Antonio Spurs, which is why if you look at them right here, they're 21-24 in the season and 22-23 against the spread. That's the perfect summary of the San Antonio Spurs. They cover one, they don't. You just have no idea, which is very, very hard to bet on, in my opinion, for the San Antonio Spurs. So those are my thoughts on it. I do think with the lower total, it is a game that they can win. Don't really want to put any of my money on the Miami Heat right now, even with the Spurs being on the second leg of a back-to-back. I guess I'll lean a little bit more towards them. Let's see. Spurs, GLB Best says Spurs 2-7 against the spread after a win as a dog. I did have that in my notes too. So Spurs 2-4 against the spread, playing unrested this season, including 4 straight losses and non-covers. And I also have Miami as 6-3 against the spread with the rest advantage. So those things do point to the Miami Heat in this spot. I don't think I want to touch it. Blunt says he likes Spurs on the money line. Jacob says where over his 12.5 points, a best bet. Spurs gonna be a winner. JB Best says teams are 1-5 against the spread after scoring 140 points or more as a dog. Major difference if they were a favorite, 14-3 against the spread. That's interesting. So teams are 1-5. We know the Spurs scored 140 last night. If they scored 140 or more as a dog, says it's a letdown spot. So letdown spot for the Spurs. I wish it would have came last night. He says if they were a favorite, they were supposed to score, then they're 14-3 against the spread. That's a nice angle there. Brian says San Antonio seems like they got their legs. Home game, Miami a short dog. On the road, used to be money. I agree with Chad. He says slate is awful. He likes Jackson Hayes over his points plus rebounds. Heat +2 for Jacob. Spurs should be a lock. We don't use that word, but okay. 1-800-GAMBLER game, Nayeli says. Ware versus Wemby will be fun. Wemby over 3.5 blocks for Lingelwick. He's been crushing. He has been crushing. Nice one. Yeah, that's a nice one, JB. Nice one. And he put it in the chat, so if people want to write it down, they can. Boom, I like that a lot. All right, let's get over to the last game. We got the Spurs, the Suns in Portland. This line last night was at 3, and total was at 228. Total has 228.5. Total has dropped a half a point, and the money has moved in on the Phoenix Suns here, moving this from 3 to 4. I also saw it at 4.5 earlier this morning as well. So the Suns can submit the injury report late, something you might want to wait on. This is a 10-10 Eastern start time game, so you got plenty of time to bet this one if you don't want to put anything in early. I don't think Phoenix is going to rest anyone. I see an injury report that's empty, but who knows, man? It's the NBA today. Portland will potentially be without Jeremy Grant. I think he missed the last game. He's listed as questionable in this one. And you got a red-hot Portland Trailblazer team, a team that actually just matches up for whatever reason well with the Phoenix Suns. Phoenix coming off a big win last night. They beat the Golden State Warriors, something I should have had in my pocket. And Devin Booker absolutely cooked as I thought that he would, being left off their all-star team. He hit 5 threes in that game. So do we see a little bit of a letdown for the Phoenix Suns is the question you got to ask yourself. Portland has the rest advantage in this spot. They also got in-season revenge, and they played this Phoenix team really, really well. Phoenix has won 4 straight in the head-to-head matchup between the two, including twice already this season. So you got double revenge here. But Portland actually covered both of those games. Portland's actually covered 3 in a row and 4 of the last 5 when they've been playing against the Phoenix Suns. The problem is, if you like Portland, none of the spreads were this short. Those were big spreads. The totals are 8-2 to the under in the last 10 head-to-head meetings as well. So real quick, let me go back and look at it. These were like massive, gigantic spreads, like not super big, but they were a lot bigger than 4 and 3 when I was looking at it. Because I think Portland is the right side in the game. I just don't want it to be almost a pick 'em though. So real quick. So yeah, when they played on December the 15th earlier this season, Portland was getting 11. When they played on November the 2nd, Portland was getting 13. So those were 2 big numbers that they were getting in the 2 times that they played so far this season. And this was before Portland offense got going, because Phoenix won the first game 103-97 in Phoenix. And then they won the second game 116-109. So Portland offense has actually been playing a little bit better recently. We know that they got back-to-back wins against Orlando and Milwaukee after losing to OKC, but they covered that game as well. They've actually covered, they've won 6 of their last 7. They've covered 7 in a row to have the Portland Trail Blazers. So one of the things I looked at, I want to share this real quick too, because I do like the Suns, like what they've done since they've gotten Nick Richards. That was one of the reasons why I liked them last night against Golden State. Nick Richards had a big game too. One of the things I looked at, and GLB, put this one in your, save this one too, because I think this one gonna make us some money. So I want to go to, I'll go back to Give Me the Dog real quick. Because let me just double check something real quick. Yeah. All right. So the thing I didn't mention about this game is these 2 teams play again, right? They play again on Monday, and the game will be in Portland. So this is the first of a little 2-game mini series here, right? So what I want to look at is I want to look at how teams play on the first leg of a mini series, right? These little back-to-back mini series. So I looked into this last night. So I just need to, I wrote it down too. So I'm just going to share it. If I can get back to my screen. I got so many windows open. All right. So what I have here is the team that is not the better team, right? So the team that has a lower win percentage, and they're playing the opponent that they're playing is also the next opponent that they're going to play, and their dog, right? So this is the worst team between 2 teams that are going to play each other 2 times in a row. I hope that makes sense, right? So if we look at it, you can see that the team that is not the better team does well in the first matchup. 12-13 straight up, 16-9 against the spread is 64%, right? So taking the dog in the first matchup between 2 teams has been profitable this season. You can see that on the screen. 12-13 straight up, 16-9 against the spread, 64%. We just saw this happen with the Raptors and the Hawks. You can see that down here. The Raptors won that first game against the Hawks. They actually won the second game as well. We also saw it happen with the Spurs. They beat the Grizzlies in that first matchup. I'm sorry. No, the Spurs got smoked by the Grizzlies. We were on the Grizzlies in that spot. Not the Spurs and the Grizzlies. I'm sorry. We saw this happen with the Spurs and the Pacers. That's what it was. We saw it happen with the Spurs beating the Pacers that first game in London. We saw it with the Rockets beating the Cavs the first game. All of those are listed here. You can see them. The Rockets actually beat the Cavs twice as well. But yeah, and it just kind of goes on and on. We were on the Pacers when they were getting this +9.5 on that Sunday. So yeah, this is a pretty profitable trend. Even the Hornets, they beat the Suns in this spot as well. So this is when 2 teams are playing each other. You take the trend says to take the team that has the worst team as far as a win percentage, especially if they're a dog in the game. So this is something that I'm gonna be paying a little bit closer attention to, because I think that this is something that could be profitable, especially given that they have the rest advantage in this spot. I think the Phoenix Suns get their revenge in the next one. So I'm glad that the line has moved to 4.5. I think I'm going to be taking the Portland plus the 4.5. I'll see how the injury report goes throughout the day. And if you go back, right, because I was like, maybe let's see how profitable this has been. So if you go back and look at it, if you add since 2021 season, if you factor in before the All-Star break, the reason why I factored in before the All-Star break, BSAB is before the All-Star break. The reason why I factored in before the All-Star break is because I do think that, and you got to add that it's a regular season game too, because that happens a lot in the playoffs. The reason I factored in before the All-Star break, you don't got to factor that in because it's before the All-Star break. Anyway, the reason why I factored in before the All-Star break is because the way I think about basketball is teams need to win. Good teams need to win more after the All-Star break for seeding. Before the All-Star break, we see some lackadaisical stuff sometimes from teams. So if you factor in before the All-Star break, you can see that this trend is 61%, 60.9%, 53, 34, 1 against the number. I think that's a pretty good trend here. I like this a lot for Portland. Suns also just 2-6 straight up, 2-5-1 when they're playing on no rest this season. Portland plus 3 is what I had written in my notes last night. It's moved to 4.5. I think that they are the right side, fading the Suns off a big win against Golden State last night. That's how I'm looking at this one. I want the dog. Let's see what you guys are thinking about this one before we jump off of here. Let's see. J-Man says Spurs 3-7 versus the Heat last 10. Appreciate you, Manny. Hope Fox goes to the Spurs. Why are people on the Suns? Can't wait for Portland to win outright, Jacob says. Brian says he likes the Blazers plus the 3.5. Brian says he's gonna take Portland plus 4. Sprinkle money line. Niley says the Pistons and Suns cashed last night for me, but tonight I'm on the Trailblazers plus the 4. So a lot of people liking the Blazers here. 77 figures says I'm on the Blazers plus the 4. Top play. Chauncey got the fellas playing well in the last month or so. RR says he likes the Blazers. A lot of people like the Blazers. GLB Best says he likes it. Scott says to the guy that had the Bulls and the Spurs plus the points, I apologize. You were right. The Bucks are not good. GLB got one too. He says check this one. He got the Suns off a game that they covered, off a road game that they covered. Let's go look at that real quick. All right, so team equals Suns in previous ATS win and previous away. So if the Suns won, if they won and covered, or they don't have to cover. I mean, they don't have to win. They just had to cover on the road. Oh, wow. Yeah, it's stronger than mine. It's 3-6 straight up, 0-9 against the number, 7-2 to the under are the Suns when they've covered a game. They covered their last game on the road, 0-9 against the spread. You don't need to add anything else to that. Portland Trailblazers tonight. Portland Trailblazers if I have a second play today. I like it. I like it a lot. Cool. Okay. Yeah, I like that a lot. All right, let's get into, that's the last game, right? Yeah, it's the last game. Total is still dropping too, from 228.5 down to 227, it looks like now. And I think that makes a ton of sense. All right, let's get into a quick recap. Let's get into a quick recap. So this is the recap from yesterday. You can see, so this Phoenix and Golden State would have lost. Devin Booker points would have won. Cade Cunningham over his points, rebounds, assists would have won. Detroit would have won. Milwaukee would have lost. But this over would have won, and the Pelicans definitely would have won. Jason Tatum hit a game winner. So I would have made a lot of money yesterday if I had just trusted all my plays, but I didn't. I like to go low volume, and it burned me last night. Definitely burned me last night. Anyway, for today, only thing I played, like I said, was I played the Indiana minus the 5.5, I think it was. That number is long gone now. If you do want access to all my plays, just use the link in the description. You can sign up and get them when I make them, especially if they're early. This Portland game, since we're already right here, it should be in red. I've really got one bet open right now, and that's just Indiana. So Portland plus, can you get 4.5? Let's see if some 4.5s are out there. Because I want every point I can get with Portland. Yeah, you can get 4.5 right now on ESPN Bet plus 115. And BetMGM got a 4.5 out there as well. The other things I got written down in my notes are, let's see. I got Ricochet. I talked about him. His points over. Zachariah. Ricochet. Over. I'll probably just lay the juice and take the 10.5 points for him. I think that number was available on BetMGM. But you could, if you want to, you could, take the 11.5 too. I think that he's just going to step into a lot more minutes with them being down, all the players that they're down. No Bogdanovich, no Jalen Johnson should equal more value for him. I like the Malik Monk look that Taylor mentioned in the chat under his 19.5 points. That's been a strong look. Taking guards, primary ball handlers against that Oklahoma City Thunder defense. The Amin Thompson look. I'm probably going to end up playing Amin. I like Amin Thompson today. The points plus rebounds was 24.5 PR. I like that look a lot. And then I also wrote that Lakers team total under 107.5. Not 207.5 because I would have smashed that. But these are the ways that I'm kind of looking. I also, if Jalen Suggs play, I think Orlando could lock up the Utah Jazz. I think the full game under could potentially be in play. Not sure if I'll end up betting it though. And then let me just glance over the card one more time real quick. Denver and Charlotte, nothing. Sacramento and OKC, just the Monk look. Washington, Minnesota, guess a slight lean towards Washington team total under 102.5 just because of the trend that we pulled up with the Timberwolves. Brooklyn, Houston, nothing in that game with the total dropping so low already. Lakers and Knicks, team total under for the Lakers, or the Knicks team total over. So maybe it's just a spread. Miami, San Antonio, I know I'm staying far away from that game. San Antonio mess around, scored 90 points tonight after scoring 140 against the Bucks last night. So I'll be away from that one, but I do like Portland plus the points today, man. Do like Portland plus the points. And that's the show. Resources, as always, are here. Check them out. Again, Jackson likes what Jackson likes Orlando minus the 5.5 for today. And if you're interested in checking out Jackson, use that link in the description of the video. Also, Moneyballer, Outlier, OddsJam, all of those resource links are in the description of the video. Best of luck on all your action today. We have 5 games on the board for tomorrow. Oh, real quick, I forgot to mention this. I should have probably said this at the beginning of the show. There will be no ChrisBeCappinn shows, morning shows next week. Next week is just me and my son. Mom going out of town for work. So it's just going to be me and my son. I will not be able to do morning shows. I will do night shows as I can and share looks, but I will not be doing morning shows at all next week. None. No. I will do one. I'll do one on Friday. She'll be back on Thursday. So I'll do one on Friday morning. But yeah, no ChrisBeCappinn shows next week at all until Friday, most likely. I'll send invites and I'll send updates in the Discord. But yeah, I'll still try to make some content and put out some plays as well, try to find some winners. And that'll be the show, man. Enjoy your Saturday, and I will catch you guys tomorrow for the 5-game slate in the NBA. I'm out.